So friends, throughout his presidency, Donald Trump engaged in constitutional vandalism. And he's told us over and over again, he has no intention of stopping. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, I know you've heard of the emoluments clause of the Constitution. Emoluments is a pretty fancy word. I don't think I ever used that word before I had to start talking about the many ways that Donald Trump violated the Constitution. But the emoluments clause actually stands for a pretty simple proposition. A president of the United States cannot accept money or gifts from foreign governments without first getting the consent of Congress. You don't have to be a constitutional scholar to understand that prohibition, right? The Constitution has some do's and don'ts for presidents of the United States, and that is one of the big fat constitutional don'ts. You can't take money or gifts from foreign governments unless you first get the consent of Congress. So, of course, here is a recent headline from the New York Times. Trump received millions from foreign governments as president, report finds. House Democrats released evidence that he, Trump, took in at least $7.8 million from foreign entities while in office, engaging in the kind of conduct the GOP is grasping to pin on President Biden. And that article begins, Donald Trump's businesses received at least $7.8 million from 20 foreign governments during his presidency, according to new documents released by House Democrats on Thursday that show how much he received from overseas transactions while he was in the White House, most of it from China. The transactions, detailed in a 156-page report called White House for Sale, that was produced by the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, offer concrete evidence that the former president engaged in the kind of conduct that House Republicans have labored, so far unsuccessfully, to prove that President Biden did, as they work to build an impeachment case against him. Using documents produced through a court fight, the report describes how foreign governments and their controlled entities, including a top U.S. adversary, interacted with Trump businesses while he was president. They paid millions to the Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C., Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas, Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue in New York, and Trump World Tower at 845 United Nations Plaza in New York. The Constitution prohibits federal office holders from accepting money, payments, or gifts of any kind whatever from foreign governments and monarchs unless they obtain the consent of the Congress to do so. The report notes that Mr. Trump never went to Congress to seek consent. This quote from Representative Jamie Raskin, quote, by elevating his personal financial interests and the policy priorities of corrupt foreign powers over the American public interest, former President Trump violated both the clear commands of the Constitution and the careful precedent set and observed by every previous commander-in-chief. Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland, the top Democrat on the Oversight Committee, wrote in a foreword to the report. And friends, here's the last paragraph I want to read from the article, and we'll use that paragraph as our jumping off point. House Democrats highlighted the transactions on Thursday as a counterweight to Republicans' impeachment inquiry into Mr. Biden, which has sought to tie him to international business deals by his son, Hunter Biden before his father became president in a bid to prove corruption or influence peddling. They have so far failed to show that President Biden was enriched in any way by any of those transactions. So friends, let's start with the mind-blowing hypocrisy of the Republicans. They are forever yapping about Hunter Biden getting paid by foreign interests at a time Hunter Biden's father was not president of the United States, and with absolutely no evidence that any of the money went from Hunter Biden to Joe Biden, versus Donald Trump, not his sons, at a time he was president, getting money directly from foreign governments. Directly from foreign governments into his hotels, into his bank accounts, into his pockets, into his profits. Foreign governments delivering money directly to Donald Trump, not his sons, Eric and Don Jr., in violation of the Constitution's emoluments clause. So, hypocrisy, thy name is the Republican Party. But friends, there's no two ways about it. Donald Trump was clearly and inarguably engaged in constitutional vandalism his entire term in office, right? Or maybe we should call him a constitutional cannibal, right? Chewing through the Constitution without regard for any constraints on his power. And he has promised us that if reelected, he will continue to vandalize the Constitution. He has said he will terminate the Constitution if it stands in his way. He's told us he intends to be a dictator on day one. Well, guess what? We're not going to let him. We're not going to let him. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.